Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are stepping off the wheel.
It just got really windy again.
It did.
So if this is your first time joining us, a few months ago, Ben and I decided to ditch our hamster wheel life, sell almost everything, and move to Mexico.
So we intended to put together another video to just talk about shopping in Mexico, but the world has literally changed since we posted our last video last month. So we're still in Mexico, and some of our friends and family has asked, why we're making the decision to stay down here. And so I guess we'll make this video, since we're quarantined, we'll just do an indoor video talking about what's going on here and why we're still here. But before we get into that, would you like a glass of wine?
Please.
Let us begin. Cheers.
Cheers.
I guess, so let's just start out by talking about why, there's several reasons why we decided to stay here, and I think they're all logical. So let's go through our logic.
Our logic was, the government told the citizens to either come home or be prepared to stay, and we're actually prepared to stay. We have a place, we live here.
We planned on staying here until June,
right?
When we were going to come back to the States to do an RV trip, actually.
But we didn't feel comfortable getting on an airplane with, all of the virus going on.
The last place we want to be right now is an airport. I mean, this community is pretty isolated as it is. It's a bit of a bubble. And so looking at the prospect of, being in the airport, multiple airports, multiple flight delays, and everything, the chaos that's going, and all the exposure, to come home to an RV.
Our family and friends have been sending us pictures of, the empty shelves and everything in the States, and I'm sure that's going to get better over time. But here, the shelves are pretty well
completely
full.
Stocked. Yeah.
All of the tourists have, well, not all the tourists, but the majority of the tourists have left. So, to social distance here is not very difficult because there's just not that many people.
Right, exactly. And so I guess the first reason was they said shelter in place, either come home or shelter in place. And so that's what we did. The other reason is, of all the places on planet Earth to be quarantined, this isn't bad.
We have to be prepared to quarantine ourselves when we get back to the States for 14 days.
That's right. So picture this. We go through all the hullabaloo to, try and find a flight when they're running like 80% down, go through all the transfers, all the exposure that happens on the plane in the airport. We get back home. We're supposed to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. That means we can't stay with family and friends. We've got an RV only up in the States, but most of the RV parks are closed.
Right.
So it's like, are we just going to travel around the road? And I mean, under normal circumstances, I'd be like, hell yeah, but right now, no.
So it just made more sense to
stay. It just made a lot more sense to stay here, and they've got the medical infrastructure here. Our experience here has been great. And we just love Mexico, so there's not that many people here right now. We were planning on being here through June anyway, so let's just go ahead and stick to that plan. And we'll be one of the few people here helping to support what's left of, tourism and the economy here, because they're taking a huge hit. I mean, just like, the people in the States, they're taking a huge hit too.
So if you're wondering what's going on here in Mexico, it's starting to catch up with what's going on in the States and in Canada.
Yeah.
They're closing down the restaurants with the exception of delivery or takeout. People are self-isolating. A lot of people right here have like housekeepers and gardeners that live across the highway. They're having them stay home for their own benefit.
But still paying them. In many cases, I think in almost all cases, they're still paying them. Yeah.
We don't have a gardener or housekeepers. The only thing that we have noticed still going on is people are traveling a little bit more on the roads. The roads aren't quite as empty as we've seen in the pictures from the States. But I think that's going to come here in the next few days. They have shut down all of the schools. They did that actually before anybody in the United States shut down. They shut down for a month at least.
They've been shut down for a couple of weeks.
We're
keeping up to speed on all the news from the States. Thank God for YouTube, right? It sounds to me like the best thing to do would just be hunker in place, and so that's what we're doing.
Okay, go show what we got today though. Hand sanitizer.
Can you see it? They were basically issuing one. Everybody that came in, it's like, here. I was like, I don't really want this, but okay.
Well, we didn't have any, so I'm glad we got some. And then we have a lot of friends here that are running low, so we'll be able to share
it with them, yeah.
But yeah, we were able to get hand sanitizer. They had They had all of the, I'll put it on the floor. They had all the paper towels and toilet paper you could want. They weren't out of any food, were they?
I don't think they were out of any food. I mean, the chicken was completely stocked, potatoes, bread aisle was full, you know, toilet paper, of course. They weren't restricting toilet paper just a couple days ago, but they are now.
Yeah, just one per person.
Anyways, yeah, so one big giant pack, of course, but per person. So we just, you know, went and did some basic provision shopping and got
And it wasn't
chicken and no, it's fine. Just got some chicken and meat and stuff like that we could keep in the freezer, and then some canned stuff just in case, you know, the power goes out or something like that. We can sustain ourselves. But it's just, you know, Tracy and I didn't come from means, and so for us, it's just kind of like being in our 20s again. It's just, okay, back to rice and beans.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is that Costco is very busy, but it wasn't a frenzied atmosphere. You know, people were calm and cool. They were just looking to get the things that they needed to get. And you know, you go and you get in a line, and all of the lines were back down the aisles. I mean, we stood in line probably 30 minutes. Nobody was getting aggressive, and nobody was getting frustrated or, you know, short-tempered. Everybody was just...
I think that's a striking difference in Mexico in general. Like when you see people backed up in the long lines in the States, you know, you'll have people whining and complaining, getting pissed and, you know, throwing fits. But in Mexico, in our experience at least, in situations where there's a lot of people waiting in line, everybody's just perfectly, you know, we're waiting in line, you know, what do you want, what are you going to do?
Right, exactly. And the other thing was everybody was keeping distance from each other, and they have signs up all over the stores to remind you to stay, I don't know how far apart. I don't know if you saw those signs.
A couple meters,
Yeah, to stay apart. So, you know, and they are taking it seriously. Yeah. They're handing out hand sanitizer everywhere you go.
That's right. So as you walk into Costco, they actually squirt your hands with sanitizer. So they're sanitizing everybody, you know, on the way in. And I got some and rubbed it all over the cart too.
And all of the workers had on masks and
gloves. The workers had on masks. A lot of the patrons actually had on masks. Yeah, so that was good to see. We don't have a mask, so, and I don't know where to get one, and I don't know that we really need one. So, you know, there's a lot of need for masks for like medical, and I just don't want to go buy a 100-pack of masks and hoard those when the medical people need them. So, but anyways,
basically that's our reasonings, and we're good. We're
everything's great.
We've got plenty of food, and you know, there's not very many people left in our community, in our little apartment complex. I think there's probably, I don't know, maybe 12, maybe a dozen, maybe.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you look at what's happened so far in China and I think South Korea and some of these other, Italy, well, Italy's still kind of pretty hot, but it seems like within the course of 2 to 3 months, it kind of goes through, you know, some sort of a cycle to where they get some control, a handle on it. And so that kind of puts us right in the middle of June when we were planning on leaving anyways. So, you know, yeah, so if we can just hunker down here, maybe things will just chill out.
But just so you know, if we can't, this place is long term. We've got it, you know, we're renting, we have a 1-year lease at this point. Yep. So we're good to go. So if we can't come home, we'll just stay in place and we'll stay safe here. Yep. And I think, you know, we'll keep you apprised. But I think
well, I mean, which home? I mean, this, you know, we planned for this to be our new home.
This is our home,
so,
yeah.
Just didn't plan for the world to end 2 months after we got here. So that's about it. I mean, so the plan is for right now, you know, we're just going to chill out in Puerto Aventuras and
take our daily beach walks, you know.
Yeah, we can still take our daily beach walks, which is very nice. Yeah, exactly.
Get out in the sun. And
in case you're wondering why we're only posting about a video a month right now, it's just because work has been so demanding. But right now, you know, every 3 to 4 weeks is probably all we can manage until we end up with some more time on our hands.
Which might be very soon. But in the meantime, hopefully you guys aren't worried about us. We're fine, we're healthy.
Yeah, everything's good. We're at the beach.
We're happy. And you guys stay safe
there.
Yeah,
please stay safe.
And hopefully this will end soon.
Well, once again, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And we'll leave you with some calming shots we took snorkeling in our bay.